Thank you, everyone, for giving us this opportunity to be able to present to you as my colleagues try and sort everything out. So we are BASF East Africa, a subsidiary of the BASF Group. We are one of the largest chemical organizations in the world, basically, with subsidiaries in about 80 countries and operations in some way, shape, or form in about 180 others. And of course, this would include East Africa and Kenya, of course. Now, I am joined by my fellow YSIPers, Nixon Nganga, who is fighting with the internet, and Whitney Nyabuto as well. And basically, what we're going to present to you today is what we are very uncreatively dubbing sustainability through permeability, or other people would like to call it creating sustainable pathways through Elastopave. Now, we had a video to present to you today, but it would appear we wouldn't be able to show it. So in the meantime, I can do a short description of what the solution is. So Elastopave is a permeable paving solution that exploits the principle of binding suitable mixtures of polyurethane with crushed aggregate stone, which would include crushed stone, rubber crumb, crushed glass, etc. And what this does is create sustainable pathways of roads, walkways, etc., that not only serve the purpose of providing mobility to the residents of any particular city, but also simultaneously provide the added benefit of additional drainage. That is to say, these particular pathways, roads, etc., would be permeable. So essentially what this does is provide a dual purpose infrastructure that creates a solution that is able to provide the mobility while also providing the drainage that is necessary for sustainable cities going forward in the future. Now, why is this important? This is important for us because, as you know, in many cities across the world, as the rate of infrastructure construction continues to increase, there is more and more growth of roads, buildings, etc., that take very little consideration to the ecological cycle. So what this does is it stops rainwater, for example, from permeating through into the ground and creates situations where we have extreme flooding, we have extreme heat as well because of lack of permeability, and creates incredibly unsustainable living conditions for many people across the world as well. And so what we are trying to do with this particular solution is introduce it, first of all, within the Kenyan market by creating sustainable business models that are able to incorporate individuals within both the public and private sector, being able to bring in these individuals to both provide both provide an element of technical support to these particular individuals in terms of how to execute this particular solution, while simultaneously being able to sell this particular solution to these individual customers as well. And what we anticipate as a consequence for what we'll be able to do here is the creation of much longer lasting and much more sustainable cities, both in Nairobi, where we'd expect to start in the interim, as well as extension further out within the African continent and beyond as well. Now, what we'd anticipate, first of all, as the impact of this particular project at the start is, first of all, within the first 3 years, we would hope that, assuming successful implementation of our business model, we'd hope to be able to pave about 36 kilometers of footpaths, not necessarily roads, but just footpaths, that would result in about 200,000 liters of additional rainwater drained, which would hopefully be able to partly restore the natural ecological cycle in Nairobi, partly replenish a few aquifers across the city, partly restore the mobility and sustainable living conditions within the residents of Nairobi, and hopefully extend this out into other areas of the world as well. We have already begun working on this project. We have managed to import a few sample materials to be able to execute this project. And going forward, we are looking to get material approval from the government of Kenya, basically to be able to use this particular material in public roads and pathways, while also bringing in private sector individuals who will be able to use them on their private spaces, etc., which would allow us to enter the market and be as successful as possible going forward and give us an opportunity to create sustainable pathways with Elastopave in the future. That is a very short snippet of what we had today. Whitney and Nixon had a lot more to say today, but technology denied them the opportunity. But at this point, we'd like to welcome any questions.
Do you have any additional thing?
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I think that you managed to deliver the core message very fast. So But of course, clarifying questions from our experts will help you to deliver what you prepared but didn't manage to deliver. I believe so. So maybe then we switch to Q&A. So our dear experts, any clarifying questions from your side to the team?
Hans, did you want to go?
Happy to, and thank you. And I didn't miss the slides. You were very convincing, even without the slides. So well done. The question I would have, clarifying question to start with. There are other road materials, right? Like very open asphalted concrete, for instance. What is different, with this material compared to the very open asphalted concrete, for instance?
Okay, fantastic. So the number one, let me say, value proposition that we have to any particular market relative to anything else is, first of all, so this is the material, I've been handed to it, and I'd do a demonstration if I could. So the number one thing that we have on our end is permeability. So this provides the strength of asphalt, the strength of any kind of concrete paving, but with the additional benefit of, if we pour water here, we'll wet the office if we do, but if we pour water here, basically, it's going to permeate through. So essentially what this does is it creates a scenario where you don't need to construct additional drainage facilities. You can just have this, will be able to support you in the construction process, and water will just drain right through to the aquifers and basically function as a road would regardless. So that is the primary value proposition that we have, while simultaneously offering anything else an asphalt road or a concrete road would be able to offer as well.
For another value that our product offers is the fact that it can be used with other aggregates, like, for example, as we said, shredded rubber crumb and other plastic or glass. So with this, we can manage to recycle and reuse material that could otherwise end up in garbage dumps, and that way we are able to use our limited resources, as we all know, sustainably.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for that, Whitney.
I have a few clarifying questions of things I didn't quite understand, but before I actually say them, can I just say, are you Michael? Was that your name?
Yes. That's
well done. That was great. Like, really, that was really wonderful. I thought you spoke very well. I thought you really stepped up to the plate in terms of everything that was going on. And yeah, very good presentation. I guess my question is, one, the materials that you're using, are they currently materials that are currently used within the road infrastructure or pavement infrastructure now? Because then there's a lineage there in terms of the recyclability of current materials that are being used. Number two is the idea. I've never been to Kenya, but is the idea to no longer have I don't know if you have gutters, if you have places where water kind of drains into on the sides of the road. Is the idea to kind of get rid of that and literally it's just a road and then water kind of goes to the bottom? And forgive me because I don't really know much, but in terms of where the water goes after and how that water is used, if you can explain that a little bit to me, I'd really appreciate it.
No problem, I can answer that. So the first question was, I think, on the materials we're using, are they currently in use in current kind of road infrastructure? So the answer is yes and no. Elastopave in this particular, or any kind of permeable paving, is extremely rare to find at the moment, and that's because prior to getting this material, there was nothing that really worked in the past. And Elastopave, in essence, is probably the first I've heard of something that is able to provide the kind of strength you'd be looking for, while simultaneously providing that added permeability. The material itself has been used elsewhere in Europe and in Dubai, etc. But a lot of the time, this has been, or the value proposition that was offered was sort of high-end applications where individuals will be looking to get, let's get Elastopave. It looks nice, it looks good, and it provides the permeability. But nothing yet, as of yet, prior to development of this business model, have we been able to find something that would work within the public sector and being able to work affordably for each and every end user that we'll be looking at going forward. And then the second question, what was the second question? I can't remember what it was. What was it?
Okay. The other question you asked is if we are looking to replace the current drainage system that we have, and that is we are looking to add to it, because Elastopave with its the permeability that it provides, our main goal is to reduce or at other, where possible, eradicate the surface runoff, which is normally handled by the gutters that we have in Nairobi. So with the Elastopave's ability to drain at least 4,000 liters of water, it will reduce this surface runoff and at the same time support our drainage system that is already overwhelmed because of the ground sealing infrastructure.
Thank you so much. Guys, as soon we significantly moving with delay and has to be on time in respect to other teams, if there are any maybe critical question or critical advice, dear experts, you would love to add, please go ahead. And
yes, just one quick clarifying question just about the cost. And thanks, Michael, for the really great presentation. But I'm really curious about the cost of producing this particular product versus sort of the materials that we're currently using and what the difference is there.
Okay, fantastic. So in terms of the cost, let me say the overall cost, what we're looking at is currently we are looking to be somewhere in between, somewhere slightly higher than asphalt, but somewhere around the region of what in this region we call concrete paving or cabro, quote unquote, in Kenya, which is basically the concrete blocks. So we are looking at a price point of about $20 per square meter, which would put us a bit closer to the asphalt region and in and around the concrete block area as well. But as well, just to add on that, the cost of the solution in itself is two parts, because we have the binder, which is used to combine we have the binder part and we have the aggregate part. The binder is about 5%, the aggregate is about 95%. So a lot of the cost would be determined by the aggregate itself, which would be, how much it would cost within any kind of local area on top of what it would cost for us to provide the binder at the same time.
Thank you so much, dear team. Thank you so much, dear experts. It was extremely great and super experience when adapting on the go and being able to present your project without deck. And this is what actually happening in real life. Yeah. So elevator pitch in action. Thank you so much, guys, and good luck with your project.